Delta State's Governor, Elder Sherriff has sent the list of 26 commissioners, nominees to the Delta State House of Assembly for confirmation. Names of the 26 nominees for appointment as commissioners in Delta State were yesterday, Wednesday, forwarded to the State House of Assembly by Mr. Governor. The latest conveying the nominees or the names of the nominees was read at plenary by the Speaker, Right Honorable Emomotimi Guo. The Governor, who said the appointment is in a size of his powers conferred on him by Section 192, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 99 as amended, said he would greatly appreciate it if early action is taken by the House to consider and confirm the nominees. Meanwhile, the Speaker, Right Honorable Guo, has directed the nominees to submit their CV to reach the clerk of the House on or before Monday, the 24th of July, 2023, and appear for screening on Tuesday, the 25th of July, 2023. The Governor, in submitting these names yesterday, beat a 60-day deadline by law in which he had to submit the nominees list. Also, with the list being submitted, kickstart true governance in the state that the citizens are truly yearning for development and progress, not just in that of the economy, but also as it concerns education, health, and majorly infrastructure, which seems to be in a deplorable state. But the big question and the big story for today, will these men and women help Mr. Governor actualize this and the needs of Deltans? And what will be the expectation of Deltans as the new administration and cabinet in the state kickstart governance? Well, these and more as it concerns not just the nominees, but also Delta's expectation is what this edition of the big story is all about. And that is Governor Sherriff Oboriwori commissioner list and Deltans' expectation. And that's what we're having as a major discourse today on the big story. We're not just looking at those lists of nominees submitted by Governor Sherriff Oboriwori to the Delta State House of Assembly just yesterday, but also what are the expectations of Deltans, as that list will definitely kickstart governance as having his cabinet, men and women who will help him actualize the vision and his more agenda, as I stated. But anyway, to help us talk more about this is no other person but Mr. Wisin Igboje. He's a social analyst and also one that's truly concerned in seeing good governance in the state. Good morning and welcome to the show, sir. Good
morning, viewers and listeners.
So I know you've gone through the list of nominees submitted by Governor Sherriff Oboriwori. Any surprise or reservation? I want you to react to the names of those on the list. And can we be confident to say these are the best of the best that will work with no other person but Governor Sherriff Oboriwori?
Yeah, thank you, Michael Ray. I took a look at the list. Surprisingly, many of the names are not known to me. Many of the people are not known to me.
Okay.
Apart from those who have been holding fort there, the names I saw there appear to be new ones. People who are coming on board for the first time as commissioners.
Okay.
But be that as it may, we all know that it's the same PDP party, People's Democratic Party, that has been ruling Delta State for the past 24 years.
Okay.
What I suspect is happening is that people who have been at the lower rung of the party echelon, who have been serving, some just came in the past maybe 15 years, and as is the custom of the party, they've been moving up gradually.
Okay.
And they've moved up to the point of recognition. And a consideration, let me put it, a new consideration has been given to them. Otherwise, it's the same people who have been recycling themselves in the Delta State government over the years. Some may have come in as special advisors, but they have graduated to the position where they are now commissioners. Okay. So I don't know if we are going to expect anything more than what we have been seeing from this new crop of people that are now whose names have been submitted to become commissioners.
Okay, now anyway, we're still talking about that and our expectation, especially as it concerns the list. Many was expecting portfolios to follow the nominees as it's being submitted to the Delta State House of Assembly. But you know, in normal tradition, not just in the state, but also in the federation, we rarely see portfolios being also assigned as it's being submitted. But anyway, that's not where my question lies. Now, my question lies in what, or rather the names being mentioned, because you made mention of recycled. And let's look at it. We're having about 4 former commissioners who served under former Governor Kowa's administration on this very list, like former Commissioner for Information and former Commissioner for Finance. I'm talking about Mr. Chasanyagu and Mr. Fidelis Tileje, respectively. Also, we have the Commissioner of Secondary Education, Mrs. Rose Ezewu, and the Director General, Delta State Capital Development Agency, Juan Oyemuchi Ada Anyoma, also as a part of this very list submitted by Governor Sherriff Oboriwori. But the opposition seemed to be raising a lot of reservation, or a bit of reservation about those 4 persons. But my question is, does it really mean to have them as part of this government, or it doesn't really mean? I just need your view on it, because the opposition is now raising those that, well, come on, we cannot be having former commissioners now being a part of this. But is it not all about them delivering on the mandate of the executive governor himself? I just want your reactions to this.
Well, these are past commissioners.
Yes.
That are being recycled, let me put it that way.
Okay.
Now the question is, have they really performed in their respective portfolios? Before now.
Okay.
That's the question. We, like I mentioned earlier, we have people who have been in the system for a very long time.
Yeah.
Some may have just come in about 6 or so years ago, because I saw the commissioner list, or the last commissioner list of COA was somewhat compensatory, where some people, just to compensate some people who over the years were left in the backwoods, people whose family members were active in the party, and then somewhere along the line, they passed on also, and they decided to say, oh, come on, these people have been doing very well. Their people did very well, but they didn't have opportunity to serve. Let us bring them on board so that they'll feel placated.
Yeah.
That's what I saw there. So if we bring some of those people back again, maybe let's hope that some form of magic.
Is it not all about experience and them having the needed experience?
There's no experience in
and coming to put that onto being.
Michael, this question of experience does not arise in Delta State. It's been a cash and carry state. You do what you want to do, you take what you want to take and get out of the place. It's the same thing that will continue replicating itself. I thought we were going to have a change of government, that is, have another party come to power. For the past 24 years, has the Delta State government been able to show us, the PDP been able to show us anything tangible that they have done when compared to other states? This is a state that receives the highest allocation in the country. And then you walk the length and breadth of the state, there is nothing to show. So what are they going to do now that is new?
Okay, now let's remain with the list, because I want us to continue on that road and still look at the list. Now, we do know that a larger chunk of these members, new commissioners, are pretty young. When we talk about age group.
Pretty young.
Yes, they are young, and the larger chunk of them, about 60% of them, are young per se, compared to the old guns that you felt maybe have stepped away and the new ones are taking the saddle of leadership. Is that not a plus, looking at the list itself?
The young ones have been called up to come and take their share. That's the way I see it.
Oh, come on.
No, let me tell you. There's an adage in Urobo land that the okra does not outgrow the man who planted it, because the okra is not a heavy. It's not a big tree. Okay. It's always it may grow taller.
So what do you mean by that? So you have to take the details of the governor.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That's where I'm going. Okay. You can always bend it. The person who put them there, even some, I'm not discrediting them as people who are not brilliant. Yeah. Some of them may be, wonderful technocrats, if they are given the opportunity to perform. But the man who planted the okra is always there So they cannot live beyond the person who put them there. If they want to go beyond the limits that are satisfactory to him, he has a right and he has the power to bend them and say, no, that's not what I put you there for. Okay. Otherwise, we have bright minds among these young ones, just as we have dumb heads who are there, because of their prowess, because of the things they have been doing in the past, and they have earned the promotion to come to this kind of level in governance. I mean, I don't know how you look at it, but that's my perception of the whole thing.
Okay, now let's continue on the list. Now, according to the Speaker of the House of Delta State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Emotimi Oguwo, the nominees are directed to submit their CV to reach the Clerk of the House on or before Monday, the 24th of July 2023, and to appear on screening on Tuesday, the 25th of July. Now, how really important is it that the public should also witness such screening? And would it not be important that the screening do not take that formal format of take a bow? Because we do know that some of these nominees are better known to the lawmakers. But apart from that, how really important is it for us to have a robust screening of these persons to see if they can really do the job they are being saddled with the responsibility of handling?
Yeah, screening is a constitutional ritual.
Yeah.
It's not something that somebody has just invented.
Yeah.
It's been in the Constitution that newly nominated maybe would-be commissioners should show up before the panel, before the House, for selection, let me put it that way.
Yeah.
But then the point is, yes, they will get there. Yes, they will be screened. Yes, some of them will be taken. But it is the substance of what they are going to offer that matters to us. And whichever way you put it, if you are demanding, or maybe somebody may be talking about reforms, saying let us have a new system where the public is allowed to witness the screening. If the public can witness the screening, it's in Nigeria. We are in Nigeria. The public can witness the screening and say, this is wonderful. These are marvelous people. Let's put them there. And then you might still have some people in the background who are not there, who have made up their minds about who should be there and who should not be there. Now you mentioned something about portfolio, not attached to the names that are given. That gives room for maneuvers. You put somebody there and they wait. They're waiting. The party kingpins are waiting to see who is going to emerge and who is not going to emerge. And then they can do their own shuffling. Nobody will question them. If the public approves of somebody for a particular portfolio, and then they go behind, and the party bigwigs or kingpins sit down and say, no, that's not the one we want. There are people who are going to use, their own prerogative of choice to decide who should be where and who should not be where. Even when the governor has made in fact, the governor has left room. He has left room for him to do whatever he wants to do without offending people.
Okay.
Well, that's what you do when you don't submit a portfolio.
Okay.
Because there are people who are going to be dissatisfied with the choices that are made on the portfolio because they have special interest to protect. There are people who have worked with these people over the years, who have known their proficiency, and they can wake up and say, no, this man, Mr. Governor, look at you, His Excellency, it looks like you are not aware of this, what this person did to get us to where we are. So the living room for maneuvers is one of the habits of our political leaders, and particularly in a state like Delta, where the same party has been ruling for 24 years. The governor is going to have a lot of stakeholders who will come up and say, this is how we want it, this is how we want it. So even if the public is allowed to go there and make their own choice and, witness the whole thing, they can, unless you are saying like the jury system in developed countries where they select a group and say, okay, their choice is going to be our final say. That doesn't count in Nigeria, where you have this culture of impunity and people just decide to do what they want to do and get away with it and nobody asks questions. If you ask questions, you will stay there and freeze to death. Nobody's going to look at your face about what is happening. So let's forget about that. Let's forget about the public being allowed to witness a screening exercise and so on. Those things are not important in Nigeria. It is those kingmakers who make their choices, who take the final decisions on what they want to do. You are not new in Nigeria, Michael Ray. Even at the federal level, these things have been playing out over the years. I'm not saying they're new now.
How can we change that very narrative of having not just commissioners, but also ministers being appointed without the input of the general public? Can that perception
the general public
be changed? Can that style of governance be changed? Because at the end, they will only be accountable to who put them there. But when the public has a robust input into how or who they are, it also brings about a more robust democratic process and governance.
Yeah, if you want to do it, that's what I made reference to the jury system and the judicial system of some of the developed countries.
Yeah, we have that in the United States.
Yeah, so in that case, there's some form of confidence reposed in the people that have been chosen.
Yeah.
And then whatever they come up with as their final decision is accepted.
Okay.
Even sometimes there's a tendency to jettison it. If the people constituting the jury are not people who have been known to the public over the years, there are people who will still come out and say, they say, no, we don't approve of this. Okay. But the point is, can we mature to that point? Where somebody will not come from the blues and say, no, that's not the person we want, even if a select group has chosen it. And then the question is, who is going to begin that process of saying, let the public have a say in the people we appoint to govern them? Who is going to start it? And if you start it, how successful is it going to be? And then when you're going to start it means you're going to make it constitutional. So you have to amend the Constitution, to reflect.
That as you're talking, the legislative arm will also be a part of these if we are to actualize it.
Exactly. And then when it comes to that stage, you are going to have people who will be in the background, also struggling to ensure that people of their choice, who will do their bidding, when the panel the panel chosen by the public makes a decision, they are going to say, no, these are not what we want. They will carefully select it behind the scenes before it is published. So the people who are going to make the choices, with Nigeria as a particular case, people who are going to make a choice of a panel that will be empowered by the Constitution to choose who should be at the helm of affairs, especially when it comes to selection of commissioners, will also be subject to manipulation by another group. So at the end of the day, it is the views of these party bigwigs and, of course, the owner of the okra, the man who planted the okra. They are the ones who we have the final say. Okay,
now, before we go on a break, a quick one. I just want a quick response. Now, yeah, there's this new school of thought, not just that it concerns that of commissioners, but also ministers, that sometimes a timeline should be given to them on the issue of performance. Yeah, and one that would readily come to mind on why this new school of thought is there is that of the former administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, when we had ministers stay there for as long as the full length of his administration, and many of them were really called into question on their value of performance. Now, should that not also be a part of having ministers and commissioners being appointed into office, a timeline for them to perform on their given responsibilities?
Naturally, I feel that there's no need to have a timeline.
Why do you feel so?
If you look at what occurs in other climes, the man who is there as a public office holder is serving the public. And the public watches, whatever he does. Okay. The public can come out and criticize. In Nigeria, for instance, at the ministerial level, under the Buhari administration, there were people who, right from the point of inception, were criticized. People went against them because they knew their past records. And they concluded that they were not fit to hold those offices. And the man put them there and just ignored everybody. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 7 years, 8 years. They left office. They remained there, performing even worse than They started, what they started, the level of integrity
so
they started
would that not be a need for a timeline now?
I'm coming. Now, why I'm bringing this is that there are 7 masters who are operating with the background of impunity. So no matter what happens, they don't care. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, if a man is appointed to an office and is serving the public, and the public comes up and says, no, this man is not performing up to expectations. There are cases where you have a man who has performed so abysmally low than expectations of the public, and when the public makes noise, nobody cares. But, under normal circumstances and in some countries, so once there's a public outcry about a policy that has been enunciated by a particular department in government, the president or whoever puts him there is bound to react, is forced to react. Is compelled to say, no, this cannot happen, this cannot happen. You have seen cases of some ministers who committed themselves when they were in office under Goodluck Jonathan, and there was public outcry. The man reacted and said, no, sometimes let's take a decision, because if you don't remove a person like that, your credibility also comes under question.
Okay, I'll plead with you to hold on. We need to go on a break now, but we'll come back and continue our discussion centered on that very list submitted to the Delta State House of Assembly by no other but His Excellency Governor Sherriff yesterday in pushing for nominees for commissioners and confirmation of them, indicating that he has about 26 of them that he wants them to work with him in his push for good governance in the state. Let's go on a break.